this video is about strange things or just unusual things or surprising things that happen to you in Japan. This is Chris from Beers in Japan, and I'm back with my good buddy from Kuma's Kitchen. If you don't know what Kuma's Kitchen is, you absolutely need to go check it out. There's a tab for it up there. In my opinion, it's the best cooking show on YouTube, period. Both permanent residents here, we're probably gonna die here. But you know, there are some strange things happen. I mean, I remember I made the story about how I got arrested in Japan. Today I'm gonna tell you this hilarious story about how I got arrested in Japan. And since I got my guest buddy and my friend here, I'll let him start off and then we'll just banter back and forth with some stories.
My first year was tough. The first year is probably the toughest you'll have when you come to Japan, because you don't speak the language yet. You don't really know what's going on. Everything is, it's an adventure though too. I mean, it was like a mixture between an adventure and, oh, what a scary day I'm having today. Okay, I must admit, probably for me that was 3 months because I had this hot young girlfriend. So that was great. And then, but then I remember I went back to Canada for just a little bit to build a condominium complex. Right? And then I came back here and I ended up, first of all, sleeping under a table in a guy's room because I didn't have a place yet. I found a place, and then we didn't get paid.
Oh,
so man, that was rough. Like it kind of put me off rice for a little while there. But and the thing was, like, when I was in construction, we used to go to these, like, called a shokudo, and there would be a huge rice cooker in the corner. And it's help yourself. And then, like, these guys are going up. They had 2-3 bowls of rice with lunch type thing. I mean, yeah, we ate a lot because you're working all day, you're burning it up. But still, man, that was a lot of rice. So, well, the thing is, like rice is the main dish, right? Everything else around is extras to have with it. Like we call it okazu, like it's extra stuff. So the rice is the main thing. Like my brother-in-law, yeah, we go yakiniku. You know, Reiko doesn't eat rice. She's like, I don't need it tonight, but he's got to have rice and everything. Yeah, to me, and it still is strange, Japanese people will eat ramen noodles. You go to ramen and a bowl of rice. Yeah, I mean, we're talking starch noodles, which taste awesome. Ramen, you never had ramen in Japan, you have not lived. And it's incredibly unhealthy, but I'm addicted. I just can't, I can't help myself. Once or twice a month, I just say fuck it and do it. And it just tastes so good. Last week I was in a Chinese restaurant in Tokyo, and I was upstairs and there was downstairs seating, right? And downstairs was full, so I was the only customer upstairs. And I rang the bell, I wanted more tea. But the guy, the Chinese guy, came up with another bowl of rice in his hand. He assumed that I was asking for more rice. Literally, I'd only ate 1/4 of the rice was there. But anyways, in Japan, when you order at a restaurant, you order what's called a teishoku place, where they bring you, they have what's okazu, which is the main dish, and then they have a few little side dishes. They will bring out, I mean, this mountain of rice. I mean, we're talking a bowl here, and it's full and it's round at the top. So now I'm at the point where I always ask for less rice. And here's the thing is too, in Japan, because rice is so important, we call it gohan, okay? But gohan also means
meal.
The meal. Yeah, so you have asa gohan, which is breakfast, hiru gohan, which is afternoon or lunch.
Asa is morning, hiru is afternoon, and yoru is evening. So you're learning some Japanese too.
And it's the same kanji. Like gohan is the same kanji. So rice is the main thing.
So let's talk about what other things you find different or strange. What other strange things have happened to you in Japan?
Okay, one of the things that got me when I first was here also was the taxi drivers. I'm used to Canadian taxi drivers. In fact, in Vancouver, in Canada, you get a taxi and the guy's right away talking. Hey man, how do you think of that? You come here and these taxi drivers wearing white gloves and uniform and says nothing. It's quiet. It's nice. I like it actually, but
actually I was shocked. That reminded me, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I was shocked because in America taxis are dirty.
Yeah,
taxis are dirty, but in Japan you can come here, and I'm not joking. It's so clean. You could actually put a sandwich on the sofa or whatever you call it, the cushion in the back. What do you call it? The sofa? Back seat.
Back seat.
Yeah. Riding on trains. This. Okay. When they come on a train, usually not all trains do this. It's more of a long distance trains that do this, but not the standard local trains, but any sort of long distance express train or the bullet train. they'll come by and they'll check your ticket to make sure, because it's an expensive ticket. They want to make sure there's no person cheating the system. And then they'll go and they'll check one person one by one. And then they get to the end of the car, they're gonna go to the next car, right? Literally will bow. And that was, to me, I was like, wow, that is.
Anna yesterday, right? I flew up from Kochi on Anna. And the one girl, they got the little counter there. Every time there was a little gate. And every time she came to the gate, even though there was hardly anybody there, she turned and bowed everybody and then go through the gate.
Interesting. Any other customs that you thought were kind of a little weird or just different and you had a little trouble getting used to it?
I got in trouble for the way I ate. Even though I could use chopsticks when I came here, okay? My wife comes from a very, very good, higher level family, okay? So they're very good manners and everything like this. So I learned how to use chopsticks in Canada, actually at an Asian palace.
Yep.
The guy who taught me how to hold. So when I got here, I had no problem with eating. I was like, oh, this is easy, you know? But when I married Rieko, she took one look at it and goes, oh, you're going to learn how to use chopsticks properly. I'm like, I am using them properly, right?
I see.
Oh, no, you're not. I had to go through a whole training program of how to hold my chopsticks properly.
I see.
And then the funniest thing was, quite a few years later, I'm in a restaurant. I met a guy, I knew him when he was a high school student. This kid was cool. He was like a grown-up, right? A little grown-up. And I met him many years later. He was in Tenoji and he said, let's go have lunch together. Well, I took one look at the way he was holding his chopsticks. Right? He was terrible at it. I started teaching him how to use chopsticks. And there were 3 little old ladies at another table. And they were just like, you'll get funny looks when you do things sometimes that you just, as a foreigner, you expected that you would do that.
It doesn't really happen in Tokyo or big cities, but if you go out to the countryside, I mean, the kids, especially the kids, will just, you're walking down the street, as a white person, you stand out like a sore thumb.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids will be staring at you. Some of them get all excited and go, this is their one opportunity to learn to practice a little bit of English that they've learned. Hello, how are you? And you don't get that much in the big cities anymore, but in the small cities, you still get it.
I was in Issei just a few days ago, and it was like my ego got stroked. 2 little high school girls right away to start talking to me. There, can we take a picture with you? Can we take a picture with you? I'm like, cool, I still got it.
But one thing that's really, really unbelievable is that Japanese people, when you ask for directions, they will go out of their way. I mean, I've had Japanese people go an extra 2 or 3 stops extra on the train and then get off the train and walk me to the destination I wanted to go to. I was just blown away.
Yeah. No, people are super helpful. We have a word for omotenashi.
If you're a traveler and new here, they will go out of their way to make you feel comfortable and to help you, which makes this particular story so bizarre. Even now, I'll never forget it. I was standing in Tokyo at this the 4-way crosswalk, right? This way, right? And this old lady had to be in her 70s, right? On her bicycle, she looked at me and she says to me, "Baka yaro," which means stupid fucker. And I was just like, and she keeps going, and the words are like spinning in my mind. And I'm like, you know, the little, like a cartoon, like the little. So this lady was obviously strange and didn't like foreigners very much.
We have some crazy people.
Have you had any like?
And then the one lady, I remember Reiko and I going down the train, and the lady who was talking on her cell phone at the top of her lungs,
which is very, 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 very rare.
Yeah, no, her cell phone wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't working. Oh,
she was just talking on the telephone. There was nothing going on.
I see.
The cell phone was off.
I see. Oh, here's something that a lot of foreigners. I mean, he actually likes the stuff, which I don't know what's wrong with him. But if you go eat breakfast in Japan at almost any restaurant, there is going to be this smell. Okay, especially if there's a lot of people there, right? I mean, it's more people, and that smell is this thing called natto, and this stuff stinks. And Japanese people swear by it's healthy. My woman eats it all the time for breakfast. Sort of used to the smell in our house, but I mean, because now it smells so much. But it's this fermented beans with cheese, and it's just wretched. The smell is wretched. Well, okay, that reminds me of this. What about reason why they make osechi? So if you guys don't know what osechi is this, you have it during during the New Year's festival. So Japan, the biggest holiday of the year is not Christmas, it's New Year's. That's the family holiday. So everyone will get off from around December 28th, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later, but roughly December 28th, so about the 4th or 5th. So it's a week-long holiday. And they serve this traditional food, and it's cold food, and it's okay. I can eat it. I like it, but I always insist that we get some meat and some other stuff that we cook. But anyway, I asked my Japanese, why did this happen? Well, it happened was because in the old days, right, there weren't refrigerators, right? So and Japan's a very traditional society. Now it's different, right? There's a lot of diversity. Women are working. Most places have women, and women are having careers. But back in the old times, women stayed at home. I mean, the word for wife, there's many words for wife now, the newer words they're using, but the traditional word for wife was nyobo, or inside the house, or okusama, which is inside the house as well. So they actually means in the house. So now they use words that are going to be more modern, use different words. But anyway, so the wife was working her butt off at home, doing all the cleaning, all the cooking, and all that stuff. So they wanted to give a break to the wife, and so they didn't want to have to cook during the during the big festival, right, for New Year. So they would literally make the food, store it outside in the cold. And it does get, people don't realize, people think Japan's warm year round. Nothing.
It gets cold.
It's freezing in the winter. It's cold. It snows. And so they would put it outside where it would stay cold, and then when they would just put it on the table and eat it.
Especially breakfast. We eat osechi and ozoni.
Nice.
I love that ozoni soup.
Miso soup.
Oh yeah.
It's a big thing. Almost every meal will have soup, unless you're eating a Western meal. But if it's a Japanese meal, there will be soup, guaranteed.
One thing I found you don't want to do in Japan is if you're looking for a girlfriend or like that, don't get what's called a shitoriko. That's an only child. They're horrible. My one girlfriend was an only child. My ex-wife here was an only child. No. When I met Reiko, first thing I asked her was, "Do you have any brothers or sisters?" That just came out right away. I think she knew why at the moment, but when she said I have a brother, I'm like, check. Do you like hiking? Yes. Check. Okay, this girl's looking good. Because they're spoiled. I mean, they're spoiled. They're selfish. They're horrible. I mean, I'm sure there's some shitoriko that are fine, but geez, not everyone I've run into has been horrible. So be careful.
All right. Just in general, people. I mean, Japan's an island the size of roughly California, and it's got 125 some million people here. So just the population density, you just got to get used to it. And and just the size of houses and apartments you get, and even if you have a nice house, it's typically smaller than you would get in like, for example, America or Canada. And then you actually start to realize that you don't need places as big as
you need space.
You don't need
you get
space.
used to living small.
You end up getting a lot of junk. So that's something that's an adjustment when you come to Japan. You got to get used to the fact that the cost for what you're going to pay in America or Canada or whatever will give you something much bigger at the same price. Here will be smaller, just because there's just more people. Period. All right, I think.
Well, one thing I noticed. Okay, so I flew down to Kochi day before yesterday, right? So I'm in the airplane going over, and I looked down and I thought, you know what? I can see why we have such high density, because I'd say 95% of Japan is uninhabitable.
That's another part. Yeah, you can't live there.
There was these mountains and mountains and mountains, and there was a whole stretch there where I didn't see a single house or anything because it was just nothing but rough mountains. So when you get down to Kochi, there's basically along a river where people can live. The rest of it is just it's just too steep for living on.
That's another reason. Yeah, there's a lot of not huge mountains, not tall, but the's a lot of mountains, so they're not
steep,
not great for living. So
it's all volcanic, so it's just pushed up.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're just bantering about life in Japan, different interesting, weird things that you get used to. If you're enjoying this content, please subscribe to this channel. Go check out Kuma's Kitchen. And
Have some beers in Japan.
Cheers. See you next video.